Katie Gallagher.
Here.
Okay, will everyone please rise and join in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next, we have approval of our minutes from our meeting of October 28th, 2013.
Motion to approve.
Second.
To approve, Kevin Tansky,
Yes.
Tom Murphy,
Yes.
Kathy Pucci,
Yes.
Tony DeMarco.
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk.
Yes.
Katie Gallagher.
Yes.
Okay, next we'll have our public session. If anyone has anything to say for the good and welfare of the City of Brooklyn, please step up to the microphone, state your name and address for the record, and please observe our 5-minute time limit.
Oops. Tom Damsky, 9625 Melody Lane. I didn't make the last council meeting because I had to get my training wheels here, which I flunked, and now I finally passed. I just want to take an opportunity to say that the right thing was done in the vote for the schools. 3 years from now, it'll be quite evident when you see an influx of people coming to our schools, and that'll be a plus. To Mrs. Walker, I've had the experience of Mr. Garber when this school was in academic watch and state receivership. She's the right person for the job. She had a vision. She was criticized for that vision, but it was evident down there when you see the plan that she has put out, it is the right thing as far as security and all that. Chief Milkey, I wish to share an epiphany I had with you. I was getting my hair clipped at Rainier's barbershop, and a construction worker was very enthusiastic. He came in. He says, "Boy, those Brooklyn police are really on the job." He said, we had a theft of material and whatnot. He said, before you realize that they caught the guy and arrested him. He said, then later on in the day, when there was construction equipment having to stop for traffic on Ridge, apparently some car went around a block, the blockade that the squad car did. Next thing you know, the policeman got over, gave him a nice ticket. He said, you don't want to mess around with the police in Brooklyn. That's the message that I wish to convey to every resident and every non-resident about Idawood, and it's been self-evident about the traffic problems. Later in that afternoon, I had another epiphany. I was making a left-hand turn on Tiedemann, going towards good old Lindale. As you pass the Brooklyn Corporation limit, nice sign, 25 miles an hour. There's about 6-7 cars in front of me. I'd say they're going about 35. All of a sudden, brake light, brake light. Because there was another sign. It said 25 miles per hour, photo enforced. And right under the bridge in the side street was a camera pointing this way, and then they had an extension that pointed the other way. Now, if Tony Lindale can do it, and I address my comments now to Mayor Balbier, it's quite evident there's only two solutions to Idawood, and that is a stop sign, which I think would be the ideal, or the mobile camera. Now, yes, there's legislation to outlaw it, but why would Brooklyn and, why would Cleveland get an additional 30 cameras in locations? Why would Lindale go through the expense? Usually in that type of legislation, just like when they were going to the internet cafes, it takes a little time. And usually there's always the chance that they won't grandfather it, but in most cases they do grandfather it. I would not want to see Brooklyn miss that opportunity. There's always the argument, whether it's a cash cow or there's a safety factor. It's going to happen, folks, if something isn't done. Comments by Mr. Zorn last time and Mr. Nafzinger were right on the money. They've seen it, I've seen it. I'm a little disappointed in the residents of Idawood. If you want a solution and you've seen a problem, there should be more people out here talking about that matter. That's my comments for that aspect of it. Again, going back to the school levy, it's fortunate that people did not follow Mr. Murphy's comments about not supporting it. Because had they not, and had it been defeated, everyone could have thanked Mr. Murphy and others, because your taxes would have gone 12.5% and they would have been gone up. I would encourage that there's a vacancy to Mr. Bookshire, to Tamusco, and I forgot the other gentleman, senior moment, Kathy, to when they see that there's a vacancy, I would like to see them over there to go for the candidacy and become our next council person. Thank you.
And I believe you were probably referring to Mr. Selchertz?
Thank you.
Okay.
Another senior moment.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sean Sullivan. I'm the band director at Brooklyn High School. I live in Medina, and I just wanted to come out tonight. I actually have two things that I'd like to bring to the table.
Give us your address. Just
My fault. My address in Medina is 3979 Turnberry Drive. And my message tonight is twofold. First of all, I'd like to publicly thank Chief Scott Milkey and the Brooklyn Police Department for providing the marching band and escort to and from our home game performances at the stadium. My students and I are always appreciative and feel safer knowing that you're there. Thank you to you and your staff for making us a priority on Friday nights in September and October. It is much appreciated. I'm currently in my 15th year as the band director for the Brooklyn City School District. I teach 5th grade band students through high school seniors and everyone in between. The Brooklyn Instrumental Music Department is the largest, most successful student organization in the school system, and our high school band is the largest in the Pac-10 Conference. The band has performed at Fox 8 in the mornings, Kicking It with Kenny, multiple band shows throughout Northeast Ohio, this year's Cleveland State University Homecoming Parade, Brooklyn's own Memorial Day Parade and ceremonies, the Lakeland and Tri-C Jazz Festivals, the annual Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce banquet, the Ohio Music Education Association's large group adjudication, in which our band students have qualified for state finals the last 2 years, and the Hurricane Marching Band looks forward to marching in Walt Disney World's Magic Kingdom this summer in Orlando, Florida. The Brooklyn Music Booster Organization is also the largest parent volunteer organization in the district. They work closely with our directors and help in creating a positive experience for each and every kid. Our students have the opportunity to be a part of marching band, concert band, jazz ensemble, pit orchestra, show choir, chorale, concert choir, honors band and chorus, the spring musical production, and various other small ensembles. I'm proud of our band program. I'm proud of the work that these students do, and they truly are the best and the brightest. And everything I've mentioned is so much a part of who they are. It gives them discipline, a team concept, a strong leadership role, an outlet for creativity, motivation to achieve excellence, and it inspires them to learn more. Education goes far beyond the core curriculum. Every once in a while, I'll have a conversation with someone who wishes they learned the piano, or maybe they have a great story about being in a rock band, or maybe they didn't do anything, but music was their outlet, and band offered them the opportunity to be a part of something. These kids have that opportunity now, and they will continue to have it because of the support of this community. We want to thank you, Mayor Balbier, City Council, and the City of Brooklyn for supporting our schools and our students. Thank you for making a difference and providing an opportunity for each and every one of our students. As our halftime announcer always says on Friday nights, the Brooklyn Hurricane Marching Band would like to thank the City of Brooklyn for their continued support. You can't imagine how important that is. Thank you.
Carl Etheridge, 4137 Rabbit Run. I'm here just to say thank you to the 1,710 people that voted for the school levy. Because of what you did, you are making a difference in the lives of the students here. As a dad of 3 boys in this school, it is something that is encouraging them. It's helping them. It's building them up to be better citizens. And so I thank you for doing that. There are 1,128 that said no. I want to encourage you to remember that this is a city that we love, that you're here. Be a part of it. Make sure that our kids are receiving what they need. One of the things that Mr. Sullivan missed out on is we have students that are here from our high school. They're here to say thank you. So if our students just quickly would stand, they're involved in our bands, they're involved in a number of other activities here at the school. They came out to let you know that they appreciate what you've done for them. And so once again, thank you, and go Canes.
Good evening. My name's Lou Changari. I live at 8972 Trail Run Drive. I'm up here because of what transpired at the last finance meeting, which means I think that every person in this town should get to the finance meeting to find out what's going on. I am a very concerned citizen of Brooklyn, Ohio, as you should be. At the last finance meeting held on the 12th of this month, Fire Chief Zemek proposed buying a new pumper fire truck. The reason is because he wants to replace a 25-year-old pumper that leaks, has a pump that may or may not work, and also the accelerator system is not the greatest in the world because sometimes it sticks open and sometimes it don't work. He asked for permission to contact the various fire truck suppliers for bids on a new truck. He explained that the parts were not available anymore, and Councilman Pucci handed him a name and address of an out-of-state company that had a pump. Unfortunately, evidently she didn't check out that site, as this company furnishes used or rebuilt parts. I say again, used or rebuilt parts. Let me ask everyone who hears this, do you want a 25-year-old pumper with used or rebuilt parts putting out a fire at your house? It's not the family car or a garbage truck. Your family's lives depend on a pumper that works every time without fail. The new pumper could cost from $350,000 to $450,000 and take up to a year for delivery. Council Lady Pucci said we will have to see if it fits into next year's budget. I don't know about any of you, but I don't want my house to burn down because we had to wait till next year. About 3 years ago, when everyone was worried about American Greetings leaving, the council miraculously found $500,000 to purchase a new garbage truck and garbage cans, and the council also authorized the city to pay when it was delivered. Also at the finance meeting and the council meeting, the finance director announced that the city had $21 million plus in cash and assets. The city had $7 million in the general fund, and I believe he said he got over $3 million in receipts, and that he had $1.5 million. He had $1.5 million on hand. Now, I don't know what school you went to, but the school I went to, that's $28.5 million. I used to ask you in council, does spending $450,000 on the good and welfare of the citizens of Brooklyn, or maybe the lives, God forbid, of our citizens, be put on hold to check and see if we can afford it? I don't think so. I would be really worried. I'm worried, and so should you, and I think that everybody that hears my voice should voice their opinion to our council people, to our city administration, to let them know how you feel when it comes to a purchase of safety equipment, not just a pumper truck. I'm saying safety equipment that could affect your life, my life, their lives, everybody's lives in this town. I have one other thing to say. to every resident in this town. Wake up and smell the roses before you smell smoke. And by the way, everybody have a happy Thanksgiving, but don't burn the turkey or burn your house down. Thank you.
Does anyone else have anything to say for the good and welfare of the city of Brooklyn? Okay, we will move on to reports of committees, commissions, and boards. First is the Finance Committee meeting, and we had 4 items on our agenda this evening, and we approved all 4 of them. We recommend council adopt them, and I will elaborate on the details once they're on the floor of council to eliminate being redundant. I'll also give my economic development report at this time. The Economic Development Committee met on November 20th and discussed the following topics. There was a discussion of the possibility of making an offer to purchase a dilapidated house across from City Hall. We authorized Mrs. Miglerino to send a letter of interest to the owner. Mrs. Miglerino had solicited a proposal from City Architecture to create a civic vision plan for the center of the city. There was a consensus that this would be premature. Regarding a $12,000 job creation grant for Loving Cup Kids Academy, they were requesting to be paid now. I brought up the fact that according to the terms of the agreement, this would be paid in 2014 after they've reconciled their withholding taxes. Mr. Clausen was not able to attend the meeting, so he'll have to review this and make the final determination. There were also questions as to requesting further evidence of the investment, which Mr. Clausen will also have to address. This company is also asking for an amendment to their CRA, which is 50% on the improvements for 10 years. Even though they made a substantial investment in the property, in the eyes of the auditor, they do not qualify for any relief because they did not increase the footprint of the building. They do have plans to build an addition to expand the business. Based on their plans, we anticipate that they would then qualify for the exemption on the added value only. The committee did approve this request, which will also need council approval. Clinton Road Partnership, which is Aero International, submitted evidence of their investment for their addition and has requested the $100,000 that is due to them under the terms of the Job Creation Retention Agreement. We reviewed the evidence and approved this request. 9538 Idlewood. I had reported on this property before. This is being turned over to the City Land Bank. And when we initially discussed this, I suggested that we look at the possibility, we know the land bank will have to tear it down if the city keeps it because the city's not in the business of renovating houses. But I suggested if that happens, we put in a community garden. At the meeting, I did ask Mrs. Miglerino to contact the land bank to see if this property would qualify for their veterans program. They currently have a program right now where they're trying to assist veterans in purchasing homes. So she's going to check into that and report back to the committee. Trinity Commons, this relates to the senior living property on Idlewood. There is a new investor involved, although the original developer is still involved as well. They settled with Huntington Bank, and part of the settlement was also to pay the delinquent taxes on the property. They're in the process of finalizing their plans for assisted living and skilled nursing. They have submitted a certificate of need application to the state to increase the number of skilled nursing beds that they would be able to have. This is potentially a $20 million project, but basically right now we're going to have to wait and see how this proceeds. Mrs. Miglerino and Mr. Fitzgerald are going to meet with them this week to discuss the planning and permitting process. Under the other business, I brought up the fact that we have to finalize the template that we use as our starting point for job retention and creation agreements, and also determine which components cannot be altered as we negotiate future agreements. We will all review the current document and have a session in January to finalize this template, and once this is complete, I will share the template with council. That completes my report. Let's see, next we have Recreation Board, Mr. Tansky.
Thank you, Mrs. Pucci. City of Brooklyn Skate with Santa, Sunday, December 8th, from 2:45 p.m. to 3:45 p.m. City of Brooklyn John M. Coyne Recreation Center, 7600 Memphis Avenue. Residents and their guests admitted free. Skate rental and non-resident rates in effect. You must show your Brooklyn resident identification card to receive resident privileges. Next Recreation Board meeting is scheduled for December 16th at 7 p.m. in the Mayor's Court. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Next is Planning Commission, Councilwoman Katie Gallagher.
Thank you, Mrs. Pucci. The Planning Commission will meet Thursday, December 5th at 6 p.m. in the City Hall Conference Room to hear a request from Mike Osterfeld to install a wall-mounted sign located at 4804 Ridge Road for identification of Penn Station East Coast subs, to hear a request from 4476 Ridge Road Holdings for site plan and design approval to construct a new addition to the existing location at 4476 Ridge Road for Loving Cups Kids Academy Child Care Facility. To hear a request from Brooklyn Compass LLC for final site approval to construct a 2,700 square foot building for a Title Bucks located at 10800 Brook Park Road. And to hear a request from Brilliant Electric Sign to install additional sign panels for future tenants on both freestanding signs located at Ridge Park Square Shopping Center. Thank you, and that concludes my report.
Thank you. Next, we'll move on to the reports of council, and this evening we begin with Mr. Tansky.
Thank you, Mrs. Pucci. Good evening. We would like to congratulate Kathy Pucci and Katie Gallagher on their successful re-elections. I would also like to congratulate Mary Balbeer as our newly elected city council member. Many residents have expressed concern over the start of the next phase of the Ridge Road construction project. I don't know if I should ask Mr. Verber or the mayor, can you give us an update as to when the next phase of the construction is set to begin, and are we on schedule? I want to wish everyone a very happy Thanksgiving. So Mayor, I don't know if Mr. Verba or yourself can give us an update. I see that they're almost completed or done with that section up there. I know they're going to be moving down towards Ridge Park Square.
Yeah, Mr. Verba just informed me the other day, ordinarily they only work during construction season, but they're going to do sewer work from the school driveway up to Bidoff. Is that correct, John?
Yes, they're going to do sewer work up until actually Bidoff, and then when they get completed there, they're going to move all the way up to, I believe, Traymore during the winter. And then spring comes, they're going to start the paving of that section from School Drive to Traymore, which is phase 2. And then they're going to jump ahead and start some sewer work while they're doing that. So actually they are going to try to complete this in 2 years instead of 3. So by this time next year, we should be all set on Ridge Road.
Are we going to have lanes restricted on that sewer work as well as what we did before, or are they going to do it, patch them up, and have us run through? Or are we going to be restricted down to one lane, same way?
As of right now, we had a meeting last week. We have another meeting December 17th. But we are going to be, the lane that's going to be closed is going to be the westbound curb lane from School Drive till Bidoff.
Okay.
West side. Southbound.
Okay.
No, from School Drive to Bidoff on the westbound ridge will be closed, curb lane.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Mr. Murphy.
Thank you. The only thing I have tonight is to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. DeMarco?
Mr. Shangara, to your comments on some of the items you read off on finance, that I think you may be a little bit off base, so if you want to catch me after the meeting, I'd be happy to provide a little bit of light on what you mentioned this evening. And I would like to wish all of the residents and their families a very happy Thanksgiving. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Van Kirk?
Thank you, Mrs. Pucci. Also, I was I'm on the Finance Committee and was in that last Finance meeting. It did get a little bit heated, and understandably so. It just shows the passion for different things that we have going on in the city. After the meeting was over, I did meet with Fire Chief Zemek the following Monday. And we actually have now approved the start of the process of looking to get a new fire truck. So that process has been started. The way that the verbiage was reading on the previous agenda item said authorization to purchase a truck, and it has been changed to start that process. It does take about a year to get that process going. We unanimously in the finance meeting agreed to move forward with that process, so that we are doing that. And so I just want to let you know that that is taken care of. We're all concerned about the safety of the citizens of Brooklyn. That was never in question. And so I just wanted to clear that up, being on the Finance Committee. Also, people have mentioned to have a good Thanksgiving, and I do want everyone to have a happy Thanksgiving, but we truly have a lot to be grateful for in this nation. So I hope you take some time these next couple days to thank God for everything He's given to us and for this great country that we live in. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Katie Gallagher.
Thank you, Mrs. Pucci. Good evening, everyone. Last week, I attended a heroin summit hosted by the Cleveland Clinic in partnership with the Department of Justice and various other hospitals and government agencies. I have brought up the opiate addiction epidemic a couple times on council because over the last few years, I have witnessed ancillary crimes associated with this disease in my full-time job. I've also seen a number of families lose loved ones to this drug. More people will die this year in this state of a heroin overdose than car accidents. One person dies every 5 hours. Opiate addiction is a disease that is plaguing families across the state and costing taxpayers hundreds of thousands of dollars in law enforcement, court systems, and Medicaid. The laws and guidelines are starting to change for doctors on prescribing practices, but often the start of this disease simply begins by your child getting prescribed a painkiller associated with a common medical or dental procedure. This addiction is more than just criminal activity. It is a disease. So parents, pay attention to your children's activities and know the signs. I applaud the Brooklyn schools and the city for already sponsoring educational programs, and I hope residents and parents continue to seek out more information about this disease impacting us all. A good resource for parents to learn more about this and other drugs and a list of warning signs is robbiesvoice.com. Also, please remember Brooklyn has a drop box outside the police station to discard excess prescription drugs in your home. On a more cheerful note, I would like to thank everyone who donated to the City Thanksgiving Drive, and I hope everyone has a nice Thanksgiving.
Thank you. About a week and a half ago, I was invited to meet with the rest of the Cub Scout troop. We had a couple who attended one of our meetings, and I met with the rest of the troop who are working on their citizenship badge. They meet over at St. Thomas More. And when they mentioned that they wanted me to talk to these young boys about local government for 30 minutes, I was actually a little worried because I was, concerned about how I was going to hold their attention about local government for 30 minutes. But these young boys were so attentive, they had very insightful questions, and they were so excited to share with me their community service efforts in our community. So it was a delightful evening, and I just want to thank them for inviting me. Council had a work session on November 19th, and there is a proposal that's in the conceptual phase to potentially relocate an exit on I-71 with potential benefits for our community. The first step would be to apply for funding next year to do a feasibility study. So if we move forward with this, you will be hearing a lot more information about it next year. I do have some information that I'm going to share with council, the mayor, Mr. Fitzgerald and Mr. Clausen on riparian setback legislation and also parking lot requirements. So I'll send that out tonight after I get home to everybody. The Safe Routes to School Committee is meeting tomorrow morning, November 26th at 7:30 a.m. in the Brook Ridge Conference Room. I'd like to thank everyone who spoke this evening and also thank the students who came here. Many people in our community don't realize what an absolutely phenomenal music program we have. Hopefully, with the information that Mr. Sean Sullivan shared this evening, everybody will be a little bit more aware of that. Mr. Changari, just to clarify a few things. First, we ran out of time in our Finance Committee meeting at the last, not this evening, but our previous meeting, and the vote of the Finance Committee meeting that evening was to defer the decision until tonight. That was the bottom line. We ran out of time. We had another topic on our agenda that took up more time than we had originally anticipated. There's nobody up here who's going to jeopardize the safety of the citizens of the city of Brooklyn. And as far as the information I passed along, that was American LaFrance who made the truck. So as I emailed to the chief, they did check into it, and we do now know that they would only be able to provide a refurbished part for that, which is more information than we had that evening. A couple other things, as Mr. Van Kirk already mentioned, it was worded authorization to purchase, and we know it's not in our budget at this time. We know it's something we're going to have to look at for next year. Another issue was typically when we're asked to consider such a large purchase, we're given a lot more detailed information as far as, outside vendors and, documentation. So we did change the verbiage. I contacted Mary Jo, and we changed the verbiage on our agenda for this evening's meeting. So yes, we are going to authorize the chief to start the process. It does take a long time. We're all interested in, the safety of our community, but it's also not something that is taken lightly when, we thought we were going to be asked to authorize a $500,000 purchase right then and there that evening. So I hope that clarifies a little bit of the situation, and certainly I'm always available for questions or further discussion. Okay, we'll move on to the reports of the mayor. Mayor Balbier.
Thank you, Mrs. Pucci. Yeah, Lou, also with that fire truck, none of my directors asked for any piece of equipment unless they run it by me first, and I sat down with the fire chief and the safety director. At no time was anything considered about using used parts or reconstructed parts or anything. We'll get the new truck, and our finance director is going to figure out some way how to pay for it, but we'll do it because we need it. I missed the last council meeting. I had a medical problem, so I'd just like to congratulate all the election winners and also the school on the passage of their school levy. This month, you're going to start receiving separate bills. You probably received them already. I did, for your water and your sewer. And most of Brooklyn should have their automatic meter put in already. If you haven't, the water department intends to complete it in their whole system next year. Also, by the end of 2016, they're going to go back to monthly bills. I mentioned this once before. I remember years ago we used to get monthly bills, then they combined the sewer and water and went to quarterly bills, but now they're making the whole circle, and they're going back. You're going to receive monthly bills starting in 2016 from the water department and the sewer department. And back to Ridge Road, if you notice, the paving's been done on North Amber. All the striping's been done. It looks very nice. And the parking lot has been done and striped next to the rec center. And on Ridge Road, those 4 lanes, any day now, they should be ready. They'll be in use all winter long. So, and like John said, they're going to start doing sewer work, so they hope to speed up the whole process. Originally, they weren't going to work during the winter, but now they're going to at least try to do the sewer part. Our new ambulance has arrived, and I'll let Chief Zemek talk about it when it's his turn. I would also like to recognize our Economic Development Director, Fran Pellegrino. She was awarded as a Chamber Bright Star by the Northern Ohio Area Chamber of Commerce. She's very active in the Brooklyn Chamber, and she was recognized for this. So congratulations to Fran. I'm sure that you've seen that Sheetz opened up in the last couple of weeks. I was there for the grand opening, and they did something kind of unusual, I thought. After they had the ribbon cutting, the public was lined up outside. They unlocked the door to let the public in. Then they took the key, put a whole block of helium balloons, and sent the key up in the air. And the manager said they do that with all their new stores because they're open 24/7, and once they unlock the door, they never lock it again. So I guess that's the way to do it. They sent the key up in the sky. Also, I want to thank St. Thomas More especially. They've gathered usually about 90% of all the food we gather for the food baskets. About a month and a half ago or so, we sent letters to all the area churches for any families that might be in need. And we've gathered the food, and we put together all the baskets. And tomorrow, we'll pick up the turkeys. We have a $1,000 check from Sam's Club, and we're buying the turkeys from Kmart. They're selling them to us at cost. And the Brooklyn High School basketball team will be delivering them. So we have 50 families that are going to have a nice basket for Thanksgiving along with the turkey. We had a lot of food left over, and that was all given to food banks, so everything's been taken care of. So I just want to thank everybody involved because I'm sure it's appreciated. Our building department is doing very well this year. The last report I had from Mr. Fitzgerald, they've taken in over $337,000 in fees. So it shows that the economy is starting to pick up a little bit. Once again, the city will be judging the Christmas lights, and the judges will be out on Sunday, December the 8th, starting about 5:30 p.m. So I know I don't have my lights up yet, but if you want to be judged, have them up by the 8th, and they'll be going around the city. And I just want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, and that's all I have.
Okay, now we'll move on to reports of directors and department heads, and we'll begin with Fire Chief Zemek.
Thank you, Mrs. Pucci. I just want to let everybody know out in the public and here at council, we're going to have an open house on December 6th from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. And that's so everybody could come and look at the new ambulance. And that's really about it. So everybody come on out, look at the new ambulance. It's your ambulance. It's not the fire department's. It's not mine. It belongs to the community. So, and hopefully we will have it in service maybe a couple days before then. We're still tweaking some issues with the radio installations and things like that. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Service Director Verba.
I don't have a report. No report.
Okay, thank you. I had you on my list, so thanks. Okay, we'll move on to the next portion of our agenda. The first item is council confirmation for conditional use approval for Buffalo Wild Wings. Dear members of council, the Planning Commission, at its November 7th, 2013 meeting, decided to approve the conditional use for Buffalo Wild Wings at the vacant building located at 5020 Tiedemann Road, which was the former Max and Irma's restaurant. Pursuant to the Brooklyn zoning code, this matter is referred to the City Council for confirmation of the conditional use per ordinance 1998-88, section 1137.02, subsection A2. Sincerely, Edward Fitzgerald, Building Commissioner.
Move
I
to
don't know-
approve.
Okay. Anyone have any questions about it? Okay. We need
Move
a
to
motion.
approve.
Second.
To approve for council confirmation, Kevin Tansky,
Yes.
Tom Murphy.
Yes.
Kathy Pucci.
Yes.
Tony DeMarco.
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk.
Yes.
Katie Gallagher.
Yes.
The next item on the agenda is liquor permit for, a new permit for Brooklyn Wings at Tiedemann Road, and this is for the Buffalo Wild Wings. And Chief Milky, no objections? Any comments or questions? We need a motion for a position of no objection.
Make that motion.
I'll second.
For no objection, Kevin Tansky.
Yes.
Tom Murphy.
Yes.
Kathy Pucci.
Yes.
Tony DeMarco.
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk.
Abstain.
Katie Gallagher.
Yes.
Next item is a bid approval for the restroom renovations at the rec center. This was an item that was also deferred from our last meeting. We needed a little bit more information because the bids came in higher than we had anticipated. Dear Mayor and members of council, bid proposals were received on Thursday, November 7th, 2013, for the renovation of the lobby restrooms at the John M. Coyne Recreation Center. Please see the attached unofficial results of the bid opening. For Lauren Building Company, the base bid was $46,000, alternate 1, $14,500, alternate 2, $7,225. White House Construction, base bid $49,700, alternate 1, $17,500, alternate 2, $8,300. Coastal Quality Construction, base bid $56,600, alternate 1, $15,300, alternate 2, $7,600. Sterling Professional Group, base bid $58,400. Alternate 1, $17,700. Alternate 2, $7,200. Milestone Management, base bid $71,500. Alternate 1, $17,400. Alternate 2, $8,380. After reviewing the bids, we have determined that all bids are responsive to the bid requirements, and the lowest and best bid was submitted by Lauren Building Company. Our architect on the project, Jim Dubber from Studio Techna Architects, originally estimated the project at $36,800. Excuse me. Currently, Jim is out of town, but will be back on Monday, so while I have more information in regards to the discrepancy of the estimates and the bid results. There's a little bit of further information here. The bottom line is that the architect feels that by rebidding, we're not going to get anything come in lower. And we are on a timeline with this because we anticipate hosting some hockey tournaments. And I don't know if, for those of you who have not been over into the restrooms, they're really in dire need of renovation. So we need a motion to authorize awarding the bid to Lauren Building Company.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
To award the bid, Kevin Tansky.
Yes.
Tom Murphy.
Yes.
Kathy Pucci.
Yes.
Tony DeMarco.
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk.
Yes.
Katie Gallagher.
Yes.
Okay, next is authorization for the fire department to begin the selection projects for a new fire engine. Dear Mayor and members of council, under the advisement of the city's head EVT, Emergency Vehicle Technician Mechanic, and after consultation with Safety Director Chessar, I'd like permission to begin the process of purchasing a new fire engine/pumper. The process will begin with selecting a committee of Brooklyn firefighters to design their truck. Once started, the process of meeting with builders, discussing required specifications, and getting a firm price, the build and delivery time will be 12 months, 1 year from start to finish. All builders are under state term. The awarded builder will be, quote, who can get us the truck and what we want for the best price. An estimate of the new pumper with needed equipment is $450,000. There's some additional information on the specifics, and this is a public record if anybody wants further information. I've been in conversation with Director Enovich, and he is pursuing options to finance the needed apparatus. I appreciate your dedication to the communities and this department's needs. The safety of the community, the citizens and workers, and the responding firefighters will be put in jeopardy if the truck is not replaced. Sincerely, Chief Zemek. So we need a motion to authorize the fire department to begin the selection process.
Move to authorize.
Second.
To authorize, Kevin Tansky.
Yes.
Tom Murphy.
Yes.
Kathy Pucci.
Yes.
Tony DeMarco.
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk.
Yes.
Katie Gallagher.
Yes.
Next is ordinance 2013-67, which will be passing by emergency measure this evening because this contract takes effect December 31st. Accepting, excuse me.
December 1st.
I'm sorry, December 1st, thank you. Ordinance 2013-67, accepting the medical insurance renewal from Medical Mutual of Ohio, MMO, providing medical insurance coverage for city employees from December 1st, 2013 to November 30th, 2014. And the one and only contract that we've signed so far calls for employees to pay 10%. We are anticipating that that's the way the other agreements will go. Just for everybody's information, effective January 1st of 2014, single coverage is $572.13 a month. Employee plus spouse is $1,144.43. Employee with children is $1,087.16, and family coverage is $1,659.40, which monthly comes out to $132,749.94, and annually, basically, it's $1.6 million.
Introduced by all and suspend the rules.
Second.
To suspend the rules, Kevin Tansky.
Yes.
Tom Murphy.
Yes.
Kathy Pucci.
Yes.
Tony DeMarco.
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk.
Yes.
Katie Gallagher. To adopt, Kevin Tansky.
Yes.
Tom Murphy.
Yes.
Kathy Pucci.
Yes.
Tony DeMarco.
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk.
Yes.
Katie Gallagher.
Yes.
Next is ordinance 2013-68, accepting the dental insurance renewal from Assurant Employee Benefits, providing dental insurance coverage for city employees from December 1st, 2013 to November 30th, 2014. This is also up for emergency passage, and we will not be paying any more in 2014 than we paid in 2013. Single coverage is $32.21 a month. Employee plus spouse is $67.90 a month. Employee plus children, $75.91 a month. And family coverage, $111.60 a month. Monthly for the city, this is $8,606. Annually, it's $103,271.
Introduced by all and suspend the rules.
Second.
Second.
To suspend the rules, Kevin Tansky.
Yes.
Tom Murphy.
Yes.
Kathy Pucci.
Yes.
Tony DeMarco.
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk.
Yes.
Katie Gallagher.
Yes.
To adopt, Kevin Tansky.
Yes.
Tom Murphy.
Yes.
Kathy Pucci.
Yes.
Tony DeMarco.
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk.
Yes.
Katie Gallagher.
Yes.
Okay, does the mayor or any other member of council have anything further they'd like to say?
Yeah, I have a question.
Mr. Tansky?
Thank you. A question to Mr. Mayor Belbear. You brought up the water and sewer going to monthly billings. Do you have any information on the stormwater portion of the bill? This was taken to court, I believe, by the City of Independence, I believe, and they won. And now it's being appealed by the water and sewer. And where is this at right now? If you have any information, it's in a holding pattern. I believe the monies that have been taken out as of this point are also in a holding pattern.
Right, and the fee's been taken off the bill. They can't charge you for it, and they're appealing it to the Supreme Court, and if they hear the case, fine. If not, that ruling stands.
Do we have any time limit? When's this going to be?
Nobody knows.
And I believe, was it the City of Independence that took them on?
It was a group of cities.
It was a group of cities, it wasn't just one? Okay, thank you.
And just to clarify a little bit further, what they're waiting for right now is to actually hear if the Supreme Court agrees to hear it, and then it'll go from there. First, the Supreme Court has to say, yes, we're going to hear it, or no, we won't.
And if they say no, then,
And that's it. That's the final decision.
and then the stormwater will be gone.
Yep.
Okay, and I would like to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving, all our residents and their families, employees and their families. I think most of us have an awful lot to be thankful for. We need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
To adjourn, Kevin Tansky.
Yes.
Tom Murphy.
Yes.
Kathy Pucci.
Yes.
Tony DeMarco.
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk.
Yes.
Katie Gallagher.
Yes.
Thank you.